guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. Apologies about the lighting, the sun's kind of behind the clouds, so it's a bit difficult to film today, so apologies. And I fancied sitting somewhere new for this video, so just fancied sitting somewhere away from my desk. But today I thought I would read you guys some paranormal stories. I thought I'd do something a little bit different. If you like me and you like watching gamers play scary games, or you like people reading paranormal stories or things like that, or you like watching scary stuff on YouTube, then you're going to like this video. I've just been looking on Reddit just to see if I could read you guys some scary paranormal stories, because I love watching stuff like that all the time, and I just thought, you know what, let's try it and see how it goes, and if it does do well, then I can always do more, which is very exciting. So I'm just going to find the few stories that I've got saved. I'll probably read maybe 3, and then yeah, we'll see how it goes. So, okay, so first story is, there's something not right in my house and I'm getting scared. I don't really know where else to go with the story. I feel like when I try to tell it to people, they're silently judging me for what I'm saying. This has been going on for close to a month now, and I'm honestly getting scared enough to the point where I want to move. About a month ago, I managed to find a new rental house to live in. I had previously lived with a roommate, but when she got married, I moved out. The market is horrible, but I was able to find a 2-bedroom rental house for pretty cheap. It's pretty big with a very spacious backyard. I was lucky enough to find it. After a few days, I got the impression that something wasn't right. I got the impression that I wasn't alone. You know the feeling you get when you have eyes on you and stuff? Like, no matter which room I was in, I always felt like there was something staring at me. As with other moves I've had all locks changed. I don't chance a previous resident trying to get in. Also, I have a Ring doorbell camera because the house is about a mile off the main road, so if somebody comes over unannounced, I want their faces documented. It was about a week in when the activity in the house really started. I would come home to find cabinets and drawers open. As far as the cabinets go, there didn't seem to be any food taken or anything like that. Just open cabinets. Also, nothing really seemed to have actually been gone through. I did stay with my boyfriend for a couple of days though after this happened, because I was too scared to stay alone. Next thing I noticed was a severe temperature change. The house would be extremely cold despite not touching the thermostat. I would have to grab sweatpants and a jacket. Then it would become so hot that I would basically have to get down to my bra and underwear to stay cool. It was extremely uncomfortable. I had this looked at, but nothing was found wrong with my air heating system. What got me the most was one night I was watching TV and suddenly I could hear a loud noise coming from behind me in the kitchen. I was extremely startled when I saw what had happened. I noticed that it was a container full of my cooking utensils that had been knocked onto the floor. I was frozen with fear. I called my boyfriend to come and stay with me for the night. Until he got here, I just sat on the couch and cried. I didn't know what else to do. My boyfriend and one of his friends did a sweep of the house and found nothing. Nobody could have entered. I have an attic which we all checked. There was simply no way of entering the house. Even my windows are painted shut. Since that one night, I've been finding myself waking up at 2 and 4 AM every night. No particular reason, but when I'm awake, I'm fully awake, almost as if I hadn't gone to sleep at all. Also, when I've been sleeping, I wake up to heat extremely loud noises. This usually comes as a door slamming or something being thrown. I did once walk into the living room and find a picture frame knocked over and a lamp on its side. When this kind of stuff happens, I usually just sit there and try to regain my composure. If this is indeed something sinister, I don't want it to see me afraid. The main reason I'm typing this out is because yesterday I found a little purple bag tucked away in my closet. I almost had a panic attack when I found it because I once again had no clue as to what it was. I've just been nervous wreck lately. The bag looked like it was a hand sewn. Inside were just some little rock fragments, some ashes, and what looked like maybe seashells. I didn't even know what to think about what it could have been. So I dumped it in the trash and tore the seams of the bag. I didn't really know what else to do with it. I didn't know if that's some weird voodoo bag that's been causing the issues, but I wasn't chancing it. If that didn't work, then I'm going to screw my security deposit and get the hell out of this house. And that's the end of that one, guys. That's a bit creepy, isn't it? So I'm going to read you another one. Okay, so this one is called Haunted House. My grandma is around 75 years of age. She lives alone and prefers being a recluse. The house she lives in has been the subject of discussion for many moons. Creepy stories, supernatural stuff, and that sort of stuff has always been exchanged during family gatherings. And my mother and her siblings had tried to get her out of the house and move in with us, one of us, many times, but to no avail. She simply likes to be left alone. So at this point, I'm around 15 years old. My father never let me or my siblings stay away for longer than a day. We saw our grandma at least once a month because my dad enjoys long drives. But we always return by nightfall. So my grandma always complains that she never gets times with us because all of my other cousins stay with her during the summer, mostly because they live nearby and hence have stories about the house. So when I turned 15, my dad had an epiphany. He says it would be good for me and my younger sibling to stay with my grandma for a few days. Now, the stories we have heard are kind of scary, so my younger sister, who is afraid of the dark, wasn't looking forward to it that much. But I convinced her it was all fake and that if the house was haunted, my grandma would have been able to live in that place for so long. She was completely convinced, but she agreed. On the other hand, I was really looking forward to it. I had all the freedom to call my friends at night and nobody would say anything. And when it comes to the ghosts, I simply didn't believe they existed. I come from a family of strong theists. I believe in a God who would protect me, and that blind belief rendered me oblivious to supernatural demons and whatnot. So my sister and I go to her place. Now, there are 3 bedrooms in the whole house. One is where my grandma sleeps. It has 2 beds. One is where my grandpa used to sleep, and one is known to be the most haunted room out of all. My grandpa's room had his stuff on the bed, so my choices were to sleep in grandma's room or the haunted room. I picked the haunted one easily, not because I was brave, but because it was private and I could talk to my friends at night. My sister said she would sleep with my grandma. The first day was fine. I didn't get much sleep. That night, in fact, I slept early in the morning because it was impossible for me to sleep in that room for whatever reason. Now, the thing about that room is the windows are all wooden, so not even a bit of light would get in. The third day, my sister said she's going to start sleeping with me because my grandma apparently had a creepy habit of walking around the house in the middle of the night. So, 4th day, the main incident. My sister and I are together in bed. At around 2, I hear the pendulum clock ringing through the house. I know my grandma is up because I hear her shuffling outside the room. My sister is asleep beside me. It was pitch dark in the room, and I wasn't particularly afraid. I was just randomly thinking about stuff. About my teenage drama. I'm facing upwards, looking into the dark, and one of my hands is hanging out the bed above my head. Our bed didn't have a headboard, but had a wood covering on the top and the bottom. So I'm in my own head, and my train of thought gets broken by something hitting behind the bed, like somebody knocked on it once. I freeze, and my mind is racing. So I think it was me. My hand is still conscious. My hand is still hanging back. I must have jerked it unconsciously. So I stay like that, aware of my hand still hanging back. My sister is still sleeping beside me. A few seconds later, again a huge knock, this time a bit more loudly and strongly. Now guys, at this point I'm officially scared. I slowly pull my hands down. It was pitch dark and I couldn't get a single word out of my mouth to call my sister. I pull my hands down and I touch my sister's hand and squeeze it. This is no joke. My sister jerks herself away, doesn't even ask me what's wrong, and starts chanting mantras my dad taught us. I join her, and a few seconds later, a lighter knock behind the bed. This time, both of us hear it. We hug each other, too scared to do anything, and continue praying. When dawn broke and my grandma was officially awake, we switched on the light and checked the entire room for rats or holes that rats can come in, and nothing. There was nothing behind the bed or beneath it. My grandma was a clean freak. There will never be a rat in the house anyways. I go back to bed and fall asleep. We don't say anything to anyone. We called our parents to bring us back, but they weren't home, and my dad told us to back up. We continued to live in that house, in that room, for a month. In fact, we barely got out of the room. I don't know why. By the end of the month, we got attached to the room, and the house. A lot of creepy and scary things followed that week, but Dad said to buck up, so we bucked up. We went back home after a month and told my mum about everything that happened. It was after I left that room and that house that I realised I felt lighter doing so. My aunt, after hearing our stories, screamed at my mum for letting us stay there for so long. Apparently, my uncle went crazy in that room. He shut off all the ventilators and made sure no light came in and locked himself in that room for months. My family had to sign him to an asylum. It took years of recovery to get him out of his own head. After that, we never stayed there alone. But that said, my sister and I stopped being afraid of the house after a whole month. When we go back, there is a sort of welcoming vibe. It's like we made peace, and with the contents of the house, whatever it was. But I will never forget what happened that month. And that's it. That's the end of that one, guys. That's quite scary, though. I mean, your mind can play tricks on you in the dark, and you're kind of on your own. So it can play tricks on you, which is scary. Right, guys, I'm going to read you one last one, which is just a really short one. This one's called Has anyone had ghost experiences that left you scarred for life? So recently I witnessed what seemed like a ghost watching me and smiling while I slept. It was like 2-3 a.m. and I was dead asleep. I woke up completely normal and was facing the other side of where the creature was sitting. I had a very eerie feeling someone was watching me, and I could feel the edge of the bed kind of creakwood like someone was sitting on it. I turned around and was terrified. I mean, I almost myself. There was a woman, pretty, with super duper pale skin and bright red lipstick on smiling with her mouth closed. And she was sitting on the edge of the bed, but she was turned towards me, with her hands on the bed. I don't know how to explain it. She had a super big smile and it didn't look human. Her eyes, however, weren't smiling and looked really intense and focused. She had dark black hair, styled up in like a pin-up girl, and was emitting bright light. I turned around and gasped, like a mofo. I thought I was going to die, and she disappeared. I know it wasn't my brain creating this. It was way too real, and the fact that even before turning around, I felt the bed crinkle up, and I could feel someone was watching me. Do you guys think this was a ghost? And have you had these types of experiences before? Oh, that was quite creepy. Yeah. If you guys did enjoy this video, then please do like this video, and please do subscribe if you haven't already. I know this is a bit different to what I normally film, but I just thought I'd give it a go, because I do love creepy stuff like this. I'm forever watching horror things on YouTube and watching people play horror games. It's really interesting to me. But if you guys have had any paranormal experiences that you'd like to share, I will have an email down below, and you can just email me and I can read them in the next video. Yeah, and I can read them in future videos if you guys are interested. So yeah, I'm gonna love and leave you now, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!